ADHD. How many people have noticed, especially if you're coming from the Oriental background, or whether your partner's Oriental or Chinese or Malaysian or Japanese, or I just noticed there's a common denominator that none of them really tell you that they're ADHD, or even they're aware of it, and you obviously could see the signs, especially if you are someone who has read up on ADHD or even looked at it within yourself. And I think in the next few videos, I'm going to talk about the reasons why. If you know any reasons why you think that people don't tend to talk about it, that are Chinese or Oriental, come from these backgrounds, it could be your partner. So, for example, when I was married, my ex was English, so they tend to. I mean, my Chinese friends are like, oh, was it English people tend to live with, oh, was it? Basically, they express themselves. I forgot what the term is. They live their emotions on their sleeves or something like that, right? But people could tell, right? And even in my office, some of me ex colleagues are like, "Are you ADHD, man?" I literally got pulled out of a meeting, right? And it wasn't a bad pull out. It was just like this guy that was in this workshop, and he was an ex nurse, and he went, "Man, I'd love to speak to you, right?" And then as he spoke to us, he was like saying, "Hey, do you have ADHD, right?" And then basically from that, I says, "I don't know." And then we did a test, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "From this test, man, you look high, like you're basically high on the scale." I was like, "Really?" I thought I was all right in that meeting. I never was like shouty. I was never flipping, cutting people off or anything. I mean, I was a little bit rocking, and I did stand up a bit, and uh, and I did go to the toilet quite a bit. Or maybe he noticed a few things. I do bite my nails. Anyway, um, yeah. But the interesting thing is, going back to it, I I had a friend, an old friend, right, that bumped into me in a Chinese restaurant, and then somehow I was talking to this other friend of mine, and she caught on when I was talking about ADHD or laughing about it or something like that, and then she went, "Man, I noticed you were talking about ADHD. Do you have it?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm going through my process." And then I was talking about my journey of going through the process. Probably like it's been about 2 year journey. Do you know what I mean? I explained that in a video. Otherwise, we'd be here for like bloody 15 minutes. But anyway, to cut a long story short, she was saying she's been fully diagnosed, and I'm looking back, I'm thinking, "Oh my god." I mean, she's a pharmacist, for crying out loud, right? And then I'm like, "Dude, you're clever, you're academic." I'm not very academic. I just find a way to get shit done, right? Um, but before we left like we had a really good conversation, right? And it was just like, well, it wasn't even about catching up over like 15, 20 years since we last met. It was like literally ADHD, talking about the meds she was on, talking about certain things, the symptoms, and she was asking me stuff, I was asking her, blah 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 blah. And then basically an hour passed. I was late for my kids' swimming lessons, right? I was like, "Oh my god, time blindness." And then before I left, right? She went, "Oh, just don't tell anyone, please. Um, like my family doesn't know." And and that was really interesting because I haven't even seen any of their family for about 20 odd years, right? And I just thought, isn't that interesting, right? Because she's Chinese as well. She's from Chinese background, and I was like, fucking hell, this is like interesting. I want to know, like so I wouldn't talk to my parents about it because one, they would have no clue. They're not even like educated Chinese, right? They're from the boomer generation, and they weren't even like city folks. They were like villagers, and they weren't educated. So yeah, that's my upbringing, and that's my parents. um so looking back, they both have lots of behaviors that are, I could say that are very ADHD. I mean, related. I'm like, oh right, okay, this is why this. Oh right, okay, and probably other stuff. Probably slight definitely my mum, autism, paranoia, and ADHD. I mean, probably yeah, all those. My dad definitely has. And I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting how she went, oh, don't talk about, like, please don't tell anyone, even though she's fully diagnosed. And really, in this day and age of 2024, it's like, everybody's quite like, what I mean, everybody's woke and happy about mental health and all that stuff, right? And then everybody's talking about it, especially in England, and I guess it's like a free for all in America. But I've just noticed, definitely it's true when she said that. Oh my God. I'm lucky because like my family dynamics, like my parents are like, they live back in China, and hers is still kind of like in England, very close to her. So I was like, hmm. Anyway, question is, if you're Oriental, if you're Chinese, Malaysian, Japanese, or whatever, right? Or if you're married to someone like that, do they talk about it with their family? Do you talk about it with your family? Right? Comment below, let me know, and yeah, I'll have to read the comments.